Michael Rakowitz, conceptual artist. Trafalgar Square, the heart of London. Everywhere, statues of generals, admirals, and monarchs stand high on pedestals. One Plinth has been left empty. It is a most importance. For every 2 years, London commissions a piece of art to stand on the fourth plinth. This year, the artist is Michael Rakowitz. He is an American Iraqi. The title of his project is The Invisible Enemy Should Not Exist. It is a winged bull called a lamassu. It is made from Iraqi date syrup cans. I wanted to understand the concept behind his work. Why construct a winged bull in the centre of London?
Square, lined with Victorian generals, admirals, and pompous monarchs. But why a winged bull? What is the concept behind it? Where did it come from?
Good morning, London! So my name is Sadiq Khan and I am the Mayor of London. I promise to be the Mayor for all Londoners, but I'm also the Mayor for all weathers. Can I welcome you here this morning for the unveiling of the fourth plinth? Artist Michael Rakowitz. And Michael's story is an amazing story, and one of the reasons why we should be so proud is this piece of art is from an Iraqi American of Jewish faith to be displayed in the greatest city in the world.
It guarded the Nergal Gate at the entrance to the ancient Assyrian city of Nineveh near modern-day Mosul, Iraq, from circa 700 BCE until February 2015 when it was demolished by ISIS. The lamassu, which had the same footprint, the same exact footprint as the fourth plinth, has here been remade of empty Iraqi date syrup cans, representative of a once renowned industry decimated by the Iraq wars. In 2006, I began an ongoing project, The Invisible Enemy Should Not Exist, to recreate over 7,000 archaeological artifacts looted from the Iraq Museum during the war and those destroyed at other sites in its aftermath.
I wanted to understand more about the winged bulls. I decided to visit the British Museum. It is home to the world's greatest collection of Assyrian artifacts and cuneiform inscriptions. It was to the British Museum that some of the lamassus that guarded the palace of Sennacherib were transported in 1840s. Today, their keeper is a world expert in cuneiform, Professor Irving Finkel.
The time of the Neo-Assyrian kings, the 9th century, 8th century, 7th century, these lamassus, these great structures, were a standard feature in the capital and main cities sometimes. The idea was that the main portals to the city and sometimes main gates within the city were marked by a pair of them which stood, as shown here in the British Museum, opposite one another.
And do they think these ones were burnt, or why are they in such a poor condition compared to the other ones?
Well, this destruction wreaked on the palace of Sennacherib, there's no doubt about it. I mean, the destruction of things is not a new matter whatsoever. I mean, the Assyrians themselves, when they went to war, when they felt they had to punish people who didn't pay their tribute and didn't behave and they were rebellious, they showed them a very firm lesson by destroying their cities, salting the ground, killing all the women and children and leaving everybody crying and going home. So they themselves are part of the same fabric of punitive destruction. I don't think they did it wantonly, but they certainly used it as a political warning to discourage others from perhaps striving after independence.
I can still see the burn marks on the carved reliefs that lined the palace. But what was it like before they fell? At the heights of the empire, when Sennacherib feasted in luxury, when Nineveh was the greatest city on earth, when the Lamassus thought they would look forever down on their lavish extravagance, it was all to end one night in flames.
612 BC, the palace would be overrun. This Griffiths film, made in the 1920s, depicts the moments where the palace walls are soaked with blood and the enemy pour through the gates of Nineveh. But Nineveh was attacked again in 2014 by ISIS. Islamic State weren't just waging war on Iraq and Mosul, but the ruins of Nineveh, the ancient artifacts as well. It is a war of haram. They believe it is sacrilegious to have these objects. Thousands of sites have been looted, destroyed and burnt by ISIS. ISIS's destruction of these objects caught the attention of Michael Rakowitz. Destruction and curation. That is a concept behind the fourth plinth.
How do you mark the space of something that's gone?
Yeah.
You know, like how do you actually hold a space that's invisible and also silent? A little bit stranger than just simply saying, okay, let's give a 3D print of this thing and reconstruct it in the same material. I'm making a ghost. Insights into the work was the former director of the Iraq Museum, Dr. Dani George Yukhana, who unfortunately passed away in 2011, but when he arrived in the States in 2007, after he was forced to leave Iraq, he came and visited the exhibition of this project, and told me that he got quite emotional in front of it because he said that it was as close as he was ever getting to these things again.
It's terrible.
It is moving, and it was also kind of incredible to hear him say, like, you know, he was telling me, you made this out of, like, you know, material that's totally different than what I saw. The colors are totally, you know, like, they're not the colors of the stone. They're like pop colors. But he said, you got the aura right. Like, the physicality of that thing in front of me was the size and the presence and everything.
So like a shadow, you're making this out of different materials.
And it's a great way of putting it, to say that it's a shadow. It's very, very beautiful.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me, it's not so much the battle scenes, but the points at which the ecological history of Iraq starts to come through. So you can see in a lot of the reliefs, you know, the date palms, which of course are, you know, an important part of the project that I'm doing for Trafalgar Square. But you also see, you know, the waterways populated by carp and things like that. So like the Tigris and the Euphrates. And what I was proposing when the British Museum actually approached me to think about filling in these spaces in between the fragments, you know, I was actually thinking of ways in which to not only just reconstruct what was there, but to also talk about the demise of the ecology in the aftermath of the Iraq War. So showing, you know, in the new reliefs, you know, what happened to the trees, the date palms that ended up suffering from fusarium, and with the trunks going flaccid and the crowns falling off, you know, showing those kinds of things. And then, you know, the carp in the Tigris and the Euphrates are still alive, but from time to time there's been actually a fatwa against the carp that's issued because of all the bodies that are decaying.
Did you ever consider growing a beard like the Syrian kings? I think it would look good.
When I started to shave it, so I'm like, I've got a sense of humor. No ego, why not? You know?
Yeah, it looks good on you.
But yeah, I could totally rock the Assyrian beard.
Yeah.
So this is a lot more. This is a lot more the size. This is almost exactly the size. You know, I'd say ours is probably a little bit longer. These emblemaents are so beautiful. And when I
visited the fabricators of the sculpture yesterday. These incredible artists who are working on it have made these dies, you know, where they're, you know, imprinting the can onto the pattern, and so the can actually has this pattern imprinted on it. And the same with the feathers.
And they weren't purely as decorative sculpture, they were there to guard the palace.
Yeah, I feel comfortable with this guarding my house.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, it was a protective deity.
So it was like modern day security.
Yes, because I mean the belief, you know, in something intangible and something supernatural was your security system.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that, you know, it's so much a part of what we consider classical sculpture, but what I find amazing about all this work, including, you know, the Shushu lions that are on like the Ishtar gate, is that you end up with these hybrids.
Yeah.
You know, man, you know, bull,
Chimeras.
lion. What's that?
A chimera. It's like
Yeah, exactly.
I see this work as a ghost of the original and as a placeholder for those human lives that cannot be reconstructed, that are still searching for sanctuary. Unlike the pair of Lamassu housed inside the British Museum, the recreation stands outside with its wings raised, still performing his duty as guardian of Iraq's past and present. It will face southeast, looking towards Nineveh, hoping to return in the future.